overview of the entire of everything from the last 2 years for Life Day. And we're going to do the world premiere of the Bunta Eve reveal.
Don't you forget about me.
Yes, exactly. And we're on the YouTubes. I got the notifications. But I hope also that you all caught the live stream earlier for the news desk. It's available on YouTube right now. If you want to take a look at that, we talk about a lot of new things that are happening, things you should buy, things you should start thinking about now, including the announcement of a new event, hashtag Cantina 2, run by our good friend Martin, which is like a rock show, all Star Wars themed, which includes performances by Blues Harvest and Darth Elvis, who is a very good friend of the group. And if you were at Bunta Eve in Anaheim, you actually got to see Darth Elvis out of gimmick performing, which was actually quite a treat. But yeah, so very excited about all that's going on. And then next week, we have the finale of Andor season 1.
I mean, that's just gonna be crazy.
Well, yeah, it's exciting, and we're going to be joined by Ashley next week. She's going to join us too, because this has been a long time coming. We started this whole preview and season thing back in August, or the last week of July, really, and it's coming to an end.
Andor August, and then some, and then some more, and then some more.
Yes. But we are very excited. We can make the announcement now that we are going to be starting a new series in December, the first week of December. So, Dave, why don't you talk a little bit about it?
So you know how we like to get you prepared for the Star Wars content that's coming up. We know that not everyone lives and breathes the stuff that we do and just watch this incessantly. So we've gone through and we've picked some episodes and some things that are going to get you prepared for it. We won't watch every piece of content, but we're going to watch some things that are going to get you prepared to see Mando season 3 and actually understand what's going on, see what's come before. And what's really fun about doing this is we love to get, and I think we've got some special guests and surprises that are going to add their insight in addition just to watching us flap our lips like we tend to do. So you guys will see some super special guests that have some really personal insights into the Mando episodes that we will be watching.
Yeah, so it's going to be very exciting. We're going to be watching, just give you a little bit of heads up, is we're going to be watching the season finale of season 1. And then the whole season 2, and then the Mando-centric last 3 episodes of Book of Boba Fett.
Mando season 2.5.
Yes. And that's literally going to lead us up to the first episode of season 3, Mandalorian, which many people have said they can't wait to be able to talk about. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about everybody being able to watch and talk about that with us. I think Jeff is trying to broadcast as well. I got a notification that he's on the page with live updates from so I'm trying to see well, yeah, but no one's watching our show.
Well, that's correct. No one's watching us. They're watching Jeff, but they're getting some Life Day stuff. And in fairness, there's a whole bunch of people, both East Coast and West Coast, that are participating in Life Day in the parks right now. So, hi Jen, how are you doing?
Hello, Jen.
And but yeah, people are participating in Life Day, and you're going to get to see some of those highlights on our Life Day show next Tuesday. Now, see, I got that now. Tuesday.
Yes.
You'll get to see some of the things that were happening, going on in the parks for actual Life Day, and in this previous, what was it, Saturday that they did?
Yeah, I mean, I know some people went on Saturday. They just did a update. Jeff did a an Oga's reveal with John and also with Mike. John got another red kyber crystal.
I saw that. Yes. I'm
I'm
telling you, I can't wait till he like builds himself a summer home out of those things.
Seriously. But speaking of the man, hello there, Mark. How are you?
Hi guys, how are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Happy Life Day.
Happy Life Day to you too. I'm wearing my Life Day merchandise to have my orb here and all set for that. So we were just talking about this. Next week, we started this whole Andor and then some last week of July, and next week it all ends.
Here, pour one out for Cyril and everyone else who's going to die.
Yeah, well, fingers.
It's been a wild ride. Thank you for organizing that and floating it across the whole VCN. It was quite the content stream for sure.
Yes, and we announced earlier on as well is that we are going to be starting our March to Mando 3 first week in December with we're watching the finale of season 1, all of season 2, and the Mando-centric episodes of Fett.
Wow.
And that's going to lead directly to season 3.
I was going to say, did we do that math? When is the premiere of Mando season 3? I don't remember.
22nd of February.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's soon. Okay. That's great. That's going to be really fun. We will have some type of programming on Rebels Revisited around Mando. Like, it's not as tied in, so we're not going to, what you guys are doing on Thursday, we will not have an exact mirror to that, obviously,
sure.
But we'll have something. You can't talk about like Mando's everywhere now. It feels like Mandalorians in general are everywhere now, but like I really feel like this might be the most anticipated Star Wars thing on the calendar, Mando season 3.
Well, even like cast members that I've spoken to, which we're working on several cast members and crew members to come back for our watch along for season 2, and all of them said, wait till season 3. We'll come back for season 3. You're going to want to be part of. We want to be part of this. Nice. So excited for season 3. I mean, I think it's like I mentioned this, I think, earlier today on our news desk with Gary from Blob of the Hut, is that I think that this season is going to lead us directly into Celebration.
Right. You did the counting because Celebration starts in April.
Right.
So, and there are usually 8 or 9 episodes of Mando. That makes sense.
So February, we might March, get a finale in Celebration.
Yeah. Oh God, Celebration so soon. I can't even think about it. It's the kind of thing where I know everyone. You know what it is? It's a lot of fun, and you when you attend, these are excellent events and all that. But like, because I work the event, I also have like this like tiny sense of dread. Just getting everything sorted and organized. But I'm very excited.
Doing internationally, so it's kind of like we are.
Mm-hmm. You guys are planning an event as well. An event.
Big announcement next Wednesday.
I see all the teasers, which is very exciting. This is hard to do. It's different time zones. I don't know where anything is. I've never been to this venue before. I can't just fly out there and check it out. Not that it matters too much. Like, we're going to have a booth and the booth will have display pieces on it, but like, it's just harder to organize. And I think a lot of people have the extra stress and dread of international travel because travel's terrible right now. Right. So imagine like, leaving the continent. It's not fun.
No, I absolutely get you, but it'll be definitely exciting, and we're very excited for all of our plans. So keep an eye out. We did already announce that we are going to have the Not So Virtual Cantina at the Aloft Excel on the 5th of April, which Mark, you were at the Not So Virtual Cantina. Dave came like directly after it.
Yes, but I rolled right into that.
How laid back and fun was the Not So Virtual Cantina compared to what we did with Bunta?
Yeah, Bunta is an experience, and obviously it was off-site, and there are guests, and there's autograph signings, and there's like a show, and people are singing karaoke. That felt like an event. That was like an event level like celebration. It felt like truly. Bunta was very laid back, and it was very easy to just like walk around and chat with people and have like one-on-one time, get to meet everyone. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring name tags because like that's the one thing that I'm terrible at. You know, like those little sticker
Hi,
name
my name
tags.
is.
Yeah, hi, my name is like literally put that on there along with your Twitter handle, RIP Twitter. So that's the kind of thing that I think would be beneficial because I know for me, like I'm pretty good. I'll just walk up to anyone and be like, "Hey, who are you?" But
Right.
like I know for some people, it's a lot. Like there must have been 50 to 100 people at the meetup
Right.
for the Not So Virtual Cantina, but everyone was super friendly. People are trading swag. Like
Which was
it was a
awesome.
good
That was
time. Yeah.
awesome. So very excited about that and excited about everything there. But one of the big things obviously coming around right now is we're going to Thanksgiving next week and
Mhm.
having our Life Day adjacent and all that. But with Black Friday coming up, what should we be looking forward to in Novo?
Oh, well, all of Star Wars will be running Black Friday stuff. So save your pennies, everyone. Every licensee is going to do something. De Nuo Novo has, we have our sale starting on Tuesday. So Tuesday, the 22nd, Black Friday sale will be 10% off the entire catalog, plus free domestic shipping and 50% off international shipping. And that all starts Tuesday. Here's the other secret surprise that you guys might not know. London Comic Con starts this weekend. So if you're in Europe, we will be displaying there. Not me, obviously, but my coworkers from the Ruby's UK office are setting up a big booth at London Comic Con for all of their properties, and they're devoting some space for De Nuo Novo. So during that time period, we will also have the free domestic shipping and 50% off international shipping running on the website, and you can save 10% if you use code London. So it's really for like the people attending the show, but it's a common code. And if the code just happens to get out there and everyone uses it,
Oh
I'm not going to
no.
cry about it. Yeah, it's 10%. So go nuts, kids. Meanwhile, I've been getting Black Friday sales since November 1st. Like Halloween was barely in the trash can, and I was already being hit with like, buy your Christmas gifts and underwear is 75% off. And I was like, already, Jesus. Like
The
it
week
is,
before Halloween, I went to
yeah.
Target and it was Christmas stuff already. I'm like,
Yeah.
go home, you're drunk. Like
the trees were up in October, and part of that is supply chain. We actually talked about that on Rebels Revisited because Ashley worked in Target.
Right.
And so she was like, yeah, the Christmas trees have been up. And part of it is like what is physically in the store, in the stockroom that they can get onto the floor because a lot of stuff didn't arrive. I was in Target and noticed that like full makeup planograms just didn't arrive. And so they weren't sold out. They just never arrived for Halloween. Right. So that's the kind of stuff where it's like you don't have that merchandise in there. You got to put something else out that's going to make money. Every square foot needs to be like driving revenue, regardless of the season. They'll put out 4th of July if they thought it would sell right now.
Pretty much. So we're about 4 minutes out.
Oh,
sorry.
I
Just
was
make sure you're queued up. That's all.
The first announcement that the replacement parts for the trooper kit that was announced, and the like, was it earlier this week or last week's the new announcement of the lore?
Oh yeah, so I guess I haven't seen you guys in a little while, but on the De Nuo Nova front, the race staff came out about a week ago from The Force Awakens. That's our newest product, like fully new product. That pre-order is up. The replacement parts for the Stormtrooper kit, the First Order Stormtrooper kit, we broke it into 7 sort of mini kits. So you can get a right arm, right leg, left leg, lower torso, and chest. Those are the 7 different options. So if you break something or if you want to customize something differently, like that gives you some options so you don't have to buy an entirely new kit or figure out like how to scrap plastic from on like a trader front. And then the lore, we just put out our latest blog post on the different types of TIE fighter helmets. So we sort of dug into the history of like TIE Victor 2, who I think a lot of people didn't really know about, is in A New Hope, and he's the one who's like Vader's wingman, and he has a totally different design than the regular TIE fighter other than the structure. So there's a little explainer onto like what the 3 different TIE fighters are in our lineup.
Goose on the side in Arabesh.
Yeah. So that's what's so funny. It's like not Arabesh. Like it looks like it, but it's not. But again, I was talking about this on my Armor Party interview. Like 1977, it wasn't planned. It was like a crappy B movie, and no one had any thought that this was going to turn into. So when someone's like, "Why is TIE Victor 2 different?" I was like, "Some prop guy painted it silver." Like, there's no there's we have to then back into an in-universe answer,
Right.
which I think is largely unknown. But like, there's discrepancies in the hats, there's discrepancies in the helmets. There, like, nothing lines up because no one was thinking consumer product in 1977. No one thought we were going to have 4K televisions where we could see like every little detail and notice like the differences from costume to costume. It's crazy.
Well, and that had never happened for like a property really at that point,
Mhm.
to where every little thing became just blown up merchandise. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
there's been merch for TV shows and comics and, well, whatever, from the beginning of TV shows and comics, but it not to the level. I can't think of anything that came to that level before Star Wars.
No, Star Wars is such an anomaly, and I think because we're in it, we think it's the status quo. It is wildly different than any other property out there. Even the biggest um biggest saga franchises that are in sci-fi don't have the level of commitment of the fans in terms of like scrutinizing the costumes, and no one really cares. Star Trek's a good example of that. There's so many characters in Star Trek, and they do not have names and backgrounds and biographies. And there's hardly any consumer merchandise for Game of Thrones, even though that was the biggest thing in pop culture for years. So Star Wars does really stand out from the rest of the collection of major sci-fi series, with its consumer products in particular. Like they were doing that before they were part of Disney. Like Lucasfilm just leaned in on that, like it really in a way that like no one else had before. It's kind of amazing, actually. It would make for like a great documentary. And I know there's a bunch of them up on like Disney Plus, but like specifically like how they merchandised Star Wars, I think is an interesting story.
I chalk it up to the fact that George sold away or didn't have most of the rights for the film, and he had the rights for the merch, and that's why he blew it up.
Yeah.
That's where George made his money.
Oh, for sure.
No, that's what how what's it called Mel Brooks stuck it to him because he got the rights to make a parody as long as he didn't do any kind of merchandising, and that was the big joke of Spaceballs, is that where the real money is made.
Merchandising.
Yeah. Yep. I keep thinking they're going to do a Spaceballs, The Force Awakens, or whatever what they were calling it, the Schwartz Awakens.
That'd be fantastic.
Like, they were really talking about that for a minute, and I'm sad it didn't happen. I love a good spoof. I was just reading an article the other day about how spoofs are dead, and I think it's because of all the reviewer culture. Like, there's no need for like spoof movies.
Right.
I don't know.
Though, if you watch Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic story, it's the best spoof movie around lately.
I heard it's great. I have not seen it yet, but it's on my list to watch. I have to watch that. I have to watch the Blue's Clues movie this weekend with my niece because that's new on Paramount Plus. That's one of my brands. So there's a bunch of stuff.
And coincidentally, if you did a little bit of shaving up there, you could do a heck of a Blue's Clues, cosplay.
So you might have seen me in two of the shirts already. I've got Josh, which is blue. Steve is green, and then Joe's in purple. So we have all three host T-shirts in my Halloween collection for Viacom, as well as like really cute stuff for like the infants and the toddlers and stuff. Yeah, that's a fun brand. Doing some Paw Patrol stuff. We've got the new movie coming out next year. It's crazy over here, just like the amount of things we're doing. We've got new costumes for the boys. We've got Homelander and Starlight. And I'm doing a costume for the Deep, which I am not in shape to wear. Like it is, it's like really tight and like it's sleeveless. It's slutty looking like him. So it's like this is a particular body type for that one.
Okay, those need to come with muscle chests.
Yeah.
So your friends, they're all decided to dress up as Maverick with you. We'll all be wearing that next year.
No. But yeah, all of our superhero stuff does have like the padded chest and stuff. That helps. Yeah.
So very awesome, very awesome. So we're getting ready to watch episode 11, and wow, this episode. I mean, every episode I say is wow, but this episode is wow. Hope you have your Kleenex by. It's a tearjerker.
Yeah,
but it's so good. But
you'll feel things for sure.
But happy Life Day to everybody. Mr. Nauman, I'm glad you had a great time on the East Coast. Our friends, the Skywalkers, were over there. I know John ran to them. And then we have a whole crew over in Batu West right now. But
I
gear
think
up.
that is really one of the cool things about Batu, and the fact that we have Galaxy's Edge and a Star Wars in Disney World and Disneyland, is the parks themselves are vast, and you're not necessarily going to run into someone if you're both touring the day. But those of us who just immediately head for Galaxy's Edge and are hanging out on Batu, it's small enough that you're going to run into the other people that that are there.
Yeah,
which is awesome. And in Florida, Ashley basically lives there, so you could run into her at any time. She's always around the parks, especially Batu. We're talking about Ashley Eckstein.
And she's going around. Mickey Mouse is this week.
Yeah,
he's staying at her house.
So, Brett, who was at Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that she didn't join him, but she was with him last year. But I want to plug quickly that in 3 weeks in Columbus, Ohio, you're going to have Rosario and Ashley in the same con, and they're promoting each other right now.
That's interesting. I did not think that was going to happen, but I'm excited that it is, because there's all these rumors about tension between the two of them. And I think that was manufactured by external forces, and I don't think it had anything to do with the two of them. So I'm glad to see that there's an event that they're both going to be at, and that they're like retweeting each other or whatever. That's a good thing. Yeah. It's good for the fandom for sure.
Well, I know that Ashley went to the set of Ahsoka, and she said she doesn't have a part, but she did a set visit. And actually sat down.
And I believe her.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They can't not put her in that show. Like, they're gonna do something. There will be a voiceover or a cameo or something.
Well, it was like Kevin Smith before Rise of Skywalker. He's like, I'm not in the movie, and JJ is like, go look over the wall. You'll see the final scene in the movie. He's like, I don't want to go look over that. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you're Kevin Smith. You're going to go look over that wall.
Yeah.
And you're probably in the movie there somewhere as well. So we'll see, because I know that Vanessa Marshall was on set as well, and is no confirmation whether or not it's her or Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Mrs. Obi-Wan Kenobi, playing Hera. So we don't know, what the scoop is with that. But we're very excited about that. We're very excited with Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka is going to be also very big. We're going to get a big, panel and trailer in London.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the big ones. I think, and that's probably the big thing we thought we were going to get out of Celebration Anaheim was the Thrawn announcement. I bet we get it in London.
That would make sense. If not sooner. I mean, they have to tell us who's playing Thrawn, unless they leave it as a
panel
reveal.
and Celebration would be the perfect time.
Yeah,
like they did with Ben Mendelsohn playing Krennic and having him come out in the outfit in 2016.
The odds that Thrawn will be cast as a British actor,
I would say it's probably
the odds are long.
Yes, we could tell them the odds. Anywho, let's start on with this episode. We're gonna watch a recap as well. So everybody else queued up?
Ready?
Okay, you're gonna start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. So as we're watching this recap, I want to, with Mark here, I want to, say something that everybody seemed to say the same thing, is that when we all walked into our meetup in Rhode Island, which was awesome, like it was last year, it was awesome again this year, no one recognized Dave.
What?
Oh my God.
I don't know why.
Like a fully different person. It wasn't even a double take, it was a triple take. And you're very tall. So already you're in sort of immediately recognizable, but the beard thing, like I fully just didn't recognize your face. Yeah. It's gone back a little. I mean,
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It was nice to meet your wife and your daughter. That was cool.
Thank you. Yes, they enjoyed meeting everyone as well.
And you had a nice
Was it
conversation with our
overwhelming
lawyer.
for them?
Was it overwhelming for them, Dave?
I'm sorry. I
Oh,
Were they overwhelmed?
There was a lot of new people. I mean, Michelle has met some of you before, on the family vacation, but Amelia is in the teenage, people. It's too peoply out there kind of
Right.
phrase. But and Rhode Island was big, and Rhode Island was cool.
Yeah.
So
there were a lot of people at the meetup. Jason was trying to keep track of who is who, and he's of course seen all of you guys in the little squares and everything. So
Sure.
he knows that, but like didn't know anyone else at any table. And I'm trying to remember everyone's names, and I was like, name tags. That's like the thing that's missing from every event.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Is like I know that you and Joanna and Jason were having a lovely talk with our lawyer. So
yeah, yes. And oh my God, I didn't even know Joanna was going. And then we spent like a good chunk of the con together. She
that was
waited in
awesome
line with us to meet Alicia Silverstone. She walked around with us to meet a bunch of the actors. Ashley and I were actually joking the other day that like the show we did right after Rhode Island Comic Con, it was also after we had our little break for Halloween because we had done a pre-record, was like the most off-topic episode we've ever done. Like we barely paid attention to the watch along, and it was like full chaos, but it was so much fun.
Yeah. One thing we talked about last episode of Andor was the fact that if you see him coming to his own, but the theme song gets another element added to it, like percussion or strings or horns, or
so
that's building as well.
Yeah, it's actually the opposite of WandaVision, where they keep stripping away her energy. Every intro, this one is growing in power, much like the rebellion is growing. This is crazy though, them hanging on by a thread, like in the opening. Like
this is where this completely surprised me from minute one. I thought we were going to see more of the escapees. We only see the two that we already know, go on for the next 5 years into Rogue One, because his partner here is again in Rogue One.
Yeah, it's Melshi. Yep.
Yeah.
Duncan Powell, who signed autographs for us at Tops. So I remember him well because I recognized him and I was like, oh, well, it's Duncan. Yeah, I'm surprised too. I thought we'd pick up a couple more stragglers. It seems like maybe people went off in their own little ways, but I also think like, and there's a throwaway line in here about it, like not as many people survived that they should have or whatever. I think a lot of people died. Ashley and I talked about this on Monday, and I was like, a lot of people drowned. Several people can't swim. There's no way he's the only one who couldn't. And also, I can swim, but I can't swim in an ocean. I'll fall right to the bottom. So I would have been dead, but like, I don't think I could have made the swim all the way to shore. So there's probably plenty of feeble people or otherwise like incapable of making a long swim, or they were taken down by the Empire. Like reinforcements were coming.
Sharks.
Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff out there. There's some like Mon Calamari who's just like a little bit hungry. He's like, oh, a new human. So,
How sad was this that they say droids don't have emotions, and B, it's like,
So I mean, this is what I enjoy this about new Star Wars content, as opposed to, this is one of the few things that I like about the new content that I like better than in the OT, because the OT, the droids were treated badly and it's non-people, even though they're kind of, this is a pet, if not a person.
Yeah, almost like a small child.
So. And it's only become more so since this kind of concept was really introduced with L3.
Yeah. When Star Wars does a lot of things really well and better than other sci-fi series, they can take moments like that, an inanimate object, and create emotion around it. It's the same thing with Baby Yoda. I've talked about how that puppet feels so real. Like that droid feels like a real person, a real character, and has real emotional weight. It's amazing to bring out grief from like what is it? Basically a talking end table. Like this is incredible. Like this is what
Well,
Star Wars does
and
best.
it's not even remotely humanoid.
No, it doesn't look anything like anything. It literally looks like a box. And it's in fact someone had a drink on it. Like
Yeah.
and it like shook off because he was shaking. He was so upset. This poor little guy. Oh, it's terrible.
So we posted earlier this week, right after the last episode, there is going to be a running of the prisoners at Celebration, and there's a group already going through. How many people are going to have water wings?
Darth Vader floaty.
That'd be really clever. Little floaties and get
little water wings
donuts
on their arms, you know.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, by the way, I want to work on one of those prisoner uniforms now in an official capacity. I think that's like army building and that type of thing makes a lot of sense. Oh, someone pointed out the Star Wars hotel looks more like the prison in Andor than any other part of Star Wars. And I was like, oh no, that's terrible. Like who did this?
It's sad because it's true.
Yeah. I do love that jumpsuit though, the white with the orange stripes. It's very cute.
Well, and you're gonna get these guys too. You're gonna get now because of this episode. You're gonna get dirty prisoners.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the quad jumper.
God help me though if I see people without shoes. That's disgusting at a convention.
We talked about that in the other group. There's actual feet costume things that are covers for your shoe that look like feet.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Well, the other thing that you can get is completely clear flip flops. That's completely doable as well.
I don't want to see your feet.
Yeah,
leave it at that. No.
Okay. When we get off of that quad jumper, now what about the garbage? The garbage will do.
Yeah, this is
So here we got the quad jumper that we saw in Force Awakens. But one of these tall guys so go Spidey senses, but the tallest person, alien right there, is Mike Quinn.
So Mike Quinn, Liam Cook. So Mike Quinn, I think, did the voice and some of the puppeteering. Liam Cook's in there. I want to say Aiden Cook is also in there. There's a bunch of these guys who came back. But yes, Mike Quinn had a long post on his Facebook about how he did the voice and also some of the puppeteering, which is very cool. I'm glad that he keeps gigging.
Well, Aiden is Two Tubes.
Yes.
Which was Two Tubes in Rogue One as well.
Oh yeah, we had him sign for us many times and as many characters. I think Mike has only ever been 9 Nub. I don't think we've ever had him sign as anything else.
Right.
I'd have to double check, but Aiden's done several.
Right.
Okay, if everybody's gonna die in this, if anybody's gonna die in episode 12, it needs to be Space Ellen.
I know, I love her so much. Yeah. So Deirdre is you know how we rooted for her when she was in the beginning of the season, even though we knew. I just love her so much. I want her to defect to the rebels because she's so good, right? She's the only effective one, which is kind of why she has to go. Like, we have to get rid of her because she's kind of too good. Like, we don't want the Empire doing well. Like, their top student, we have to knock her down. But like, so here's the thing: everyone's converging on Ferrix. Obviously, she's gonna be there. I think she's gonna physically be there for the finale, right? She'd have to be. It'd be stupid if they kept her in like off world. Cyril is headed there. Andor's headed there. Everyone's headed there. Like, I don't know what that final fight's going to look like, but I don't think Deirdre's going to die. She's too good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's her time. Cyril, on the other hand, is going to bite it, and which is going to make me sad. But I don't think he's going to make it out alive.
I hope Deirdre's
I don't know. I think I don't think the amount of investment that they've put in Cyril so far is he's going to go this quickly. I don't think so. I think his obsession is going to get him, and that's going to be the lesson. Like, he stole his mom's credit. We're going to see this coming up. I feel like we're spoiling the episode for people, but like he's making all the wrong decisions at every turn. By the way, we should do that for our predictions for next week. Like, I guess at the end of the episode, who lives, who dies, like this thought was really interesting. How like slimy and juicy those little web things were.
Yeah.
But then the alien guys are just like, hey, let's go for a ride. Come on.
It seemed like.
Are you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, I think they came to a common understanding that like the Empire is the enemy, right? Like,
right.
It's not their fault that their water's polluted, but it isn't super clear. Like New Rock Stars, I watched their recap and I was like, oh, that makes sense now. Like at the time when I was watching, I was like, what's going on here? This whole scene was very unclear.
I thought it was actually kind of interesting as well. I mean, it just clicked to me, and they're talking a lot about Chandrilla, which makes sense because Chandrilla is the center of the New Republic in
Mhm.
the sequel era, and before Leia, Mon Mothma was the head of the New Republic.
She's the president. Yep.
Yeah.
So I talked about this on Rebels Revisited on Monday, how there's a scene from one of the books where finally, after Palpatine is killed, Mas Amida surrenders the Empire to Mon Mothma on Chandrilla under the tree, which is the same type of tree she has in her apartment.
Oh
So I
wow.
was like, we already have Genevieve and we already have the tree. Someone get Mon Mothma, or someone get her and the Mon Mothma gear and get Mas Amida in the shot and set it up as like a coda for the end of the series, because we already know we're going to Rogue One, but like, will they give us any flash into the future if they're really trying to set up like the new trilogy and New Republic time period? Because all the other current streams of content are in the age of the New Republic.
Right.
The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, everything is happening there. So I think that would be an interesting, like, sort of pass the ball moment, you know?
So how about this? Val just
looking
doesn't.
so much in the background of all of these shots to see if we have any new Easter eggs.
Well, we commented last time that you see one of Padme's headgears in there as well, but Val gives 0 Fs at this point. She doesn't care about decorum,
Yeah.
Well, and I think right there, have we talked about before that that's like the Mayan calendar over there on the wall?
Yes, which actually we didn't talk about that, but I saw a meme of that earlier today that it leads to June 20th, 2012, and that's the actual day where George signed the rights over to Disney.
And that's the end of the world.
Yes.
Well, there you go. That's what the Mayans knew. The end of the world is when George, gives up control.
Yes.
Okay. I do enjoy this little standoff between the two of them because Vel's not having it, and Clea is also just not having it with her. Like, she's very condescending and cold, and
so we need more backstory on Clea. We know a little bit more about Vel. We know we've seen her be rough and tumble in the raid, and we know that she's Chandrillan aristocracy. So like we need to know backstory on the shop girl. What's up with that?
She's secretly in charge of everything because she sure seems like she is. Yeah. Like I said this a couple episodes ago. I'm scared of her. If I'm making my list of people I don't want to run into, she goes above most of the Imperials on the list because Clea will kill you without a second thought.
Yeah.
So now, this guy's undercover.
See, I think this is a good enough time to talk about this. I was waiting until we got more toward the end, but we won't have as much time. You can see in our immersive background here who we've chosen to represent this episode. You saw, if you noticed and you watched last week, who we chose to represent on the immersive. And we were just discussing Shop Girl, we're discussing Vel, we're discussing the droid, we're discussing a whole lot of characters that are not the title character.
Yes. It's why I thought the show should have been called Fulcrum. And I said that from the beginning because I really thought that you could then focus, because he's a Fulcrum, Bale's a Fulcrum, Ahsoka's a Fulcrum, obviously Stellan Skarsgård, Luthen is a Fulcrum, Clea would be, like, they're all built, it's the building of the larger rebellion. Andor's not really the glue. And I always thought it was weird that he specifically was getting the spinoff when the purpose is like to sort of take us to the new trilogy, to the original trilogy, like to build the rebellion.
But my point in saying it though is not to necessarily bring up that, but this was our complaint about Book of Boba Fett. But for Andor, it doesn't bother us and it works.
Yeah.
In Book of Boba Fett, the fact that we saw Mando and so much of it was about him and so much was about this and that and the other, and Kirsten, and everybody but Boba Fett. But in this, I really think they've made all of those characters that this show is so much about, but they're still telling Andor's story.
Mhm. Yeah, they're all good contributors. And Andor isn't lost in it. I also think here's what I actually think happened with Boba Fett. That show suffered from expectations that are 40 years old. Like, we know that character from Empire Strikes Back, and they want a lot of pew pew. This show has almost no expectations. Like, you had to have seen Rogue One, which is part of the Disney era of movies,
Right.
and loved it and cared enough to then follow Diego Luna's secondary character into the spy thriller. And so the ratings are a lot lower for this show. So I think a lot of casual fans, or like OT fans or older fans, tuned in for Boba Fett expecting like old timey bounty hunter Boba Fett and didn't get it. And were like, what the hell is this? Whereas this time around, the people who are watching this show are like more interested in like the nuanced sort of gray area of storytelling that we're getting, and they're cool with it. But a lot of people are just not watching. And maybe some of that is like burnout from like there's too much Star Wars, which I've heard a few times, or that they didn't like Boba Fett and they didn't like Obi-Wan. Because I think Obi-Wan suffers from the exact same issue that Boba Fett does. It's expectations. Like, people wanted this, and this, and instead they got that, and that. And
I
so,
loved Obi-Wan compared to Boba Fett. I mean, that's me personally. But
if I were going to rank them, I'd put Cassian at the top, then Obi-Wan, then Boba Fett. Mando is actually like probably
Way
right there.
above
Yeah. So, but of those three, the most recent, I do think Boba Fett was the least successful. I liked Obi-Wan. I love Andor. But
Right.
they are leaps and bounds in difference in terms of what I think. But I also heard a lot of people loved Obi-Wan, like loved, and want 10 more seasons. And that's all they could watch.
That's
So that sounds great
where
too.
I think this is a far superior show. And I like the writing and the art, the whole deal. I was so much more invested in the other character, and that's why I like Obi-Wan better than this is,
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly fair criticism, because I mean, to know who Mon Mothma is, you have to remember the one other woman who had 90 seconds of screen time in Return of the Jedi 35 years ago, right? And Cassian Andor, like I said, secondary character in a spin-off movie from 2016. Like, there is no heavy hitter character in this show that's like holding the show together. Everyone's delivering excellent performances. The writing is superb. It feels not at all like the Star Wars we've been getting, but still very Star Warsy, especially when we get to the space battle later. Like, that was killer. But it's also a very nuanced show. We were talking about this on Rebels Revisited. Like, everyone's doing things that they don't want to do. Like, very much the end justifies the means. And everyone's dealing with their own internal struggles of like what is morally correct. And Luthen is like the center point of that. Like, he's willing to let people die so that more people can thrive later. And it's like, but he's making those decisions about them. And I was like, oh, this is really sketchy. Is he worse than Saw Gerrera? This is a tough show to like root for people. Like, I was rooting for Deirdre, even though I know she's a fascist, because like she's fun and I enjoy her. But I don't really want her to be successful, but I also liked it when she like overthrew the stupid men in the room.
Right.
So like they give you those types of moments where you get this cognitive dissonance from watching.
So here's the that's very interesting is that how she doesn't want to sell out her daughter to that guy in exchange for the 400,000 credits. But if you look right there, the daughter is, as she's saying, is buying into the ways of the Chandrilan woman.
Like Mon Mothma doesn't want that to happen, but I think that's really saying something about this generation, having a child that age myself. But the daughter is buying into that because that's the current fad, is doing the old ways. It's like the children will do anything that they see on the TikTok. It's like, oh, let's kick paper towel dispensers off the walls. Yeah, woo. No. But then here's the other thing too, though. Mon Mothma's still thinking about it and talking about it. It wasn't what she said. The guy, the gangster, whatever, was totally right. That's the first untrue thing you've said, that you're not thinking about it. It's not going to happen. because she's still talking about it in the next episode.
Yeah. This is what I was saying about having to make decisions that internally you're struggling with for the greater good. Is she willing to sell out her daughter, like her own daughter, into like some loveless marriage, an arranged marriage at 15? She's still a child and she behaves like a child, right? She like argues with her mom at breakfast, in order to get this funding to protect the entire rebellion. So I can't imagine. That sounds like very high stakes. And here's the thing, she hates her husband, but she loves her daughter. So, and she knows how miserable she has been being in this marriage since she's 15 to this stupid man. He was probably like a really nice boy. And then as they actually aged, they just like grew apart. Like,
Right.
I mean, there's any number of things that could happen.
Or
like,
I think a lot of people have said he really didn't age.
Yeah, he's probably still that same 15-year-old boy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, let's have my little pony nub, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, there's that one line where he's like, I'm gonna go feed myself while you try to feed the rest of the galaxy, or something like that. It was like so dismissive of the work she's doing, and he just does not care. I was like, oh, I would have slapped him. Like, there's no way. You'd have been thrown out one of those big windows.
Yeah.
How funny is that? As soon as she sees Auntie Val, she smiles, but she looks back at her mother and she gives her like a disdain.
Welcome to the world of a teenage parent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, this is why I'm not a parent, because I would turn to violence quickly. They'd be like, "I'm sorry, we have to remove the children from your home, sir." Speaking of the amazing parents, here we go. The best mom in all of Star Wars, this lady. Cyril's mom is my favorite. Is probably my favorite character in the whole show. Every time she's on air, I just like hoot and holler. Like, she's the greatest.
It's like, get away, Mom. And she just goes around the corner to eavesdrop.
Oh, absolutely. See, this is like my favorite part is extremely bad telephones. We can make starships and we can go faster than the speed of light. Mm-hmm. Laser blasters. We can't make a video call.
No. Well, he's underground, right? Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, I don't know.
Look at how terrible Cyril looks too. He looks all skinny and just like, I mean, like the way they're framing him with the lighting, he just looks like a corpse.
Doesn't have his tailored uniform anymore.
Oh, I was talking about that, about how he doesn't understand like feedback. Like, he thinks like his tailoring of the uniform and making himself look fancy presents something positive, but everyone else views it as like being really weird and creepy, and he doesn't get it. He's not hearing it, even though several people have told him that. And I was like, all right, like, dude, like, you need to listen to other people. Like, you're coming across in all the wrong ways. Very Anthony Hopkins in Psycho. Just very, very much that guy. And it's like, this is not good.
Yeah.
Oh, Tony Perkins. Did I say Anthony Hopkins? Tony.
You
Perkins.
did, but we knew what you meant.
Yes.
Yeah. So clearly he's headed to Ferrix.
Right.
Oh yeah.
This scene was exhausting though, of just watching him try to get this information. I was like screaming at the TV.
Oh yeah. Well, see, yeah, everybody's headed to Ferrix. And I'm sitting here like when we see Cassie in a minute, I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. There's no reason for you to go. She's gone. She's a brick. It's not like she's dying. Don't do it. He's gonna do it.
Well, how about the fact that at that last scene, I absolutely felt that Cyril could be like Norman Bates and kill off his mother. And
I called it on Rebels Revisited. He's gonna strangle her with a pillow, just suffocate with a pillow. Just
But how about this? He snuck back into the hotel to get his credits while the other creature is sleeping in the room.
Mm-hmm. Still there. No one found it. That was lucky.
Yeah.
Well, no one in Star Wars uses the bathroom. Andor's the only one who ever goes into the bathroom.
Well,
and Wedge Antilles in Rebels.
Solo. They had the shower scene between Han and Chewie. They talked about the refresher in Mandalorian season 1, the first 2 scenes. You had the guy peeing outside in this series.
That's right.
Well, but that's the point I'm making. Is there allusions to it? There are things, but as far as actually going into and making use of it, and I don't think Andor actually like uses the bathroom, but the fact that he
just showers
into the plumbing, breaks into the plumbing, He's running the shower to hide what he's doing. He's not actually showering. But that's the thing. The bathroom's not necessarily being used as a
And
bathroom.
we commented on the last time we saw him in the shower is that it has like the 3 different dispensers, just like at Disney at the property hotels.
Telling you that we haven't seen it yet. That room right there, that's on the Halcyon. It's not in Space Miami. That's
right.
That's
So this was one of the scenes I was looking forward to seeing Luthen with Saw Gerrera.
I think we see in this episode, that Saw is already a little bit more robotic than we thought he was.
Mhm.
He's got
A little crazier
kind of things on his arms, and the ports on his uniform are already there. I think that one over his heart or whatever had glass or something on it in Rogue One. There was something else going on in there, but it's there.
And he's starting to lose his mind too. As you can see, as the technology creeps into his body, like his body's breaking down, his mind is breaking down at like an alarming rate as well. He's very paranoid already.
You're not paranoid if everybody's out to get you.
That's true though. Like, is it justified? Like, it's true. I mean, he would be on a most wanted list for sure.
Well, one of the first things he said to Jin when she came back was, "Have you come to kill me?"
Oh yeah.
I would have been like, yes. You are annoying. He's really good. I'm glad they got him back for this. I didn't think, as I was thinking about who would be in Andor, knowing that Andor didn't meet him until Rogue One, I didn't expect that he would have a role in the show until they announced his, that Forrest Whitaker was part of the cast. So this was a pleasant surprise. But it makes sense. He's one of the core founders of the rebellion on the very violent side, obviously, whereas Mon Mothma's got the very political side. And then Luthen, doing it all.
Here's something. If you're thinking about Celebration next year, which I think is going to have a lot of Andor, especially since it was all done over there. If OPX is smart, you can get more mileage out of Forrest Whitaker now that he's in this show, as well as more properties to drag to get people to go to Celebration.
I think you should also really focus on British actors who you don't have to fly in, and figure out if you can get people to come in for the day. Genevieve O'Reilly is British. She or Irish. Either way, she's there. She's on the continent.
And Andy Serkis.
Andy. All of them. Everyone we couldn't get for the new
we were talking about this last episode.
Yeah.
I said Andy is my top choice of British actors to be at Celebration next year.
Yeah. I actually hope he comes back to the circuit, because he was doing the circuit for a hot minute. And now that he's got this, I think the Star Wars fans will, the interest will spike again, because he was hot for a minute with Snoke and then it went away very quickly. This is going to be, for the hardcore fans, just him posed at the microphone will be the shot. Like, that's all you need.
And you got to have Skarsgård. You got to have him, and he double dips for the Disney, for the mouse, as you're bringing in your Thor fans and your Andor fans.
So Sherry brought in this interesting thought that she thinks there's some speculation that Luthen could be a Jedi, and I've seen many articles online that he potentially could be,
or even a dark side user, based on what we're going to see coming up. I have a few characters on my short list of like secret Force users, and you know how we find out in the Force Awakens that everyone can sort of harness the Force differently, and all of that. I think he could be a Jedi of some type. He certainly has like the charisma, but also maybe he's like mind tricking people. I always have Sabine on my list. She's like way more athletic than she should be, and she's always doing these like crazy jumps that almost feel like Jedi jumps. Like, there's a few different people on there. But like, it wouldn't surprise me if they revealed him to be a Force user. Jin's mom studies the Force, but isn't a Force user, but she wears that little red sash, Lyra.
Right.
But yeah, so there's varying degrees. Like, you don't really need to be a Jedi even so much as you have like a good understanding of the Force, or maybe the ability to use the Force in some small way.
I think that would hurt the concept of this show, though.
If it was a Jedi at the center, like the Axis. Yeah. I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, that would hurt the concept of the show. I'm not saying they're above doing it, but
So if they can get a new lightsaber hilt out there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, that's exactly what Sherry's saying, is that some people, the theory is that's a wooden hilt lightsaber that he's got.
Yeah.
It's like,
we already have a new ship. I'd lean in there before anything else.
Yeah. So
this is cool.
Yeah. So his ship is pretty damn awesome, but the what's called the tribute ship that is coming up in a second is got me very, very giddy when I saw it on the show.
It's the Cantor.
The Cantal for Colin Cantal.
Yeah, Cantal.
Who just passed. But one of the ships that he designed for A New Hope was the one that we're about to see in a few seconds with the extra satellite dishes everywhere.
Yeah. But Luthen's ship is it's a really neat combination of, like, the Falcon, it's got some homage to that style of design, but like all the little cubbies and hidey holes and things, it really kind of looks like a Federation runabout, but it's got just so much stuff going.
I love this ship.
This giant Star Destroyer with tractor beams is so cool looking. Meanwhile, I love the conversation we just had with Clea. It was like all in code, all about running the shop, but clearly all about like the rebellion. So nothing on paper could really damn them. Like, they're so smart, they're so clever. Which is why Clea, I think, was so pissed at Vel coming in. Vel's like, "Where's Cassian Andor?" And she's like, "You're gonna blow the whole thing. Like, this is, we talking code here."
Right. So do you notice that the camera that Luthen is talking to kind of looks like Kevin from She-Hulk?
Oh, does it?
Watch in a second.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wait, it's Kevin.
Well, I mean, you're essentially giving it that as the droid running that ship. That's essentially like what L3 became in the Falcon, but this is already, happening. This is already what runs his ship and lets him do all this stuff.
Right. But you got these massive, satellite dishes. See, look there's the.
Yeah. I did like what's coming up here. It's like, okay, here's how you defeat a tractor beam. It's not like we board it and we have to like run around and find the little, OSHA non-approved handle on the backside of the thing. No.
This is very clever what he does to get out of the tractor beam.
What it reminds me of that he's about to do is like the flares like you see in Maverick when there's a missile coming towards there.
Yep. But this is more so than that. Flares are just decoys for their weapons. They're like, you're pulling me in. All of the force that you have from that tractor is pulling me in. So I'm going to give you what you want. I'm going to release this destructive thing. Flares are more of just a distraction. This is more of like weaponized.
It's like shrapnel, just like
right.
It's a little bit of trash.
Yeah.
Very clever.
But I might also point out that one of the stormtroopers in this scene is Sam.
Oh, she's everywhere. This girl, let me tell you, she's in like 6 episodes. I'm so excited for her.
She's a sweetheart too, and great friend of the group.
I got to hang out with her a little bit at Celebration this year. I hope that obviously if it's going to be in London, they should definitely have her.
Well, we know we said to her, she knows that something is going to happen, and she flat out said, "I don't care if you're going to book me or not. I'm going to be there no matter what."
Yeah, she's good people.
And it's always a feather in our cap that we had her first for any sort of signing in the United States.
There you go. Big ship. It's already like, semi-destroyed. We go.
Look at that very circular looking TIE fighter. it reminds me of the TIE fighter that the Grand Inquisitor flies in Rebels. And we actually just watched Sparks of Rebellion, where he was flying around, where the Rebels actually took his TIE fighter with the sort of curvy wings. I always liked that design.
And tell me that Luthen's not just like showy. They're saying, oh, great, Han's the best pilot in the galaxy. It's like, what is that?
Like
This is very cool.
It's like
right over there.
Lightsabers coming out from the sides of his ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weaponized Kyber. Like that I remember when we first saw the trailer, I thought that was an Imperial using that technology because they were figuring out various ways to weaponize Kyber. Turns out so is the Rebellion, or at least Luthen is. Which I'm surprised that no one else had thought about that, right? You can put, like, we've already got it in a planet destroying Death Star, right? And we've got it in a handheld lightsaber. Like, it makes sense that you put it on ships and other places in like the in-between of those two things.
Cassian, don't mention names.
Yeah, too late.
Bro.
Hold on.
Your mom's dead, dude. She's another
It's
brick
so
in the
sad.
wall.
Oh, by the way, how weird is the
Too
brick
soon?
thing? Like, is it? Do you guys find the brick thing weird? I was a little creeped out by it.
Well, I mean, people put ashes into different things out there, so the fact that they build a city with their ashes.
I mean, it's probably slightly less creepy than some things that people do with cremated remains. So,
yeah, it's going to be in some random public place. Like, would you know where it is? Like, would you always know where that brick is? Like, they're going to put it into some kind of wall. I have to see it, I think, because like I'm just thinking about it. Like, it just seems so strange. But then I think people think burying bodies is strange too.
Well, it's all about like where your head cannon goes. When they said they got to find the wall, it's like, do they like take a brick out, a regular brick, and like put it in the cornerstone of like her house, or it's somewhere that would be passed down in family and generation, or would it be the cornerstone of some great public building, or
or not even a cornerstone? I think it's literally just a brick, and they just like pile you in with regular bricks and other dead people. Like, who knows?
Cassian always looking to the horizon on a beach. Does he know that that's going to be the end of him?
Oh, spoiler alert.
No foreshadowing.
Okay, look at his friend. I forget his name every single time.
Melshi.
Look at Melshi's shirt. Is that not the pattern of whatever the dooflachi they were making?
Oh, it could be.
Look at that. I mean, that pattern.
It's a nice shirt. I'd wear that shirt in real life. It's highly wearable. Yeah.
It's like Paisley.
Yeah, it's space Paisley. It's that. But it's just these random things that are like hexagonally or whatever connected to the other things.
So I think this was very smart that they split up. Usually in a horror movie, you don't split up. In this case, they need to cover more ground and tell as many people as they can what is going on and the truth about the Empire.
And then come back together, as we know they do.
And we don't know how, but like,
see how they tell people and what how do they get that out? And
I don't know if they do. I don't know if they, because the Empire controls all the media. They've got the propaganda system, right?
Right.
So yeah. Oh my God, is it over already? Was that really it?
Yeah, that was really it. So let's go through through the credits, and then I'm going to pause it when the main cast is listed to see if there's anybody that we recognize we could chat about.
The big list. Yeah.
Which I always do, especially when I'm making my list for autographs, and also figuring out who's going to be on my my cast piece for which I've already started.
You've already started an Andor cast piece?
Oh yeah. I have Genevieve, Diego, and Skarsgård on it.
It's a good starting point. That's the thing. If you can get Diego, run through the list.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have him, good luck. And that's why when we met young Cassian, we didn't start a cast piece. I just got a photo of him. I was like, there's no way.
I did that. I didn't have it because Swai Yu has it, my poster. But the first time they did a Diego signing was right after they announced Andor, the show. So I sent the teaser graphic in right away, and that's what
there
I'm
you
getting
go.
done.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out, who I'm going to be using for this. Obviously, Vel's going to be one of them. Bix.
Yeah.
Obviously, Forrest Whitaker is someone I want on it. Silas,
Deirdre,
yeah,
Cyril.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd
The main
probably get his
cast.
mother on it. I
Oh,
probably would add her.
absolutely.
You should.
This is the kind of stuff where if I were getting autograph signers and aren't able to gather all them, then I got to make my duels and my triples and all that kind of fun stuff. That was always a lot of fun.
But I'll do the 8x10s of the separate characters, which I did for. Okay, so we're here right now. So looking at this, we announced earlier that Dave Chapman, who is BB-8 as well,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Brian Herring.
He's great. We had him at Celebration numerous times.
Yep. Liam Cook
Yep.
is in there.
Terrific.
Let's see. Okay, so that's everybody who's really noticeable there. Moving to the next page. Okay, Genevieve, Kyle, Catherine Hunter's mother.
Oh, there's Aiden.
Aiden is 2 tubes, which we knew was going to happen. We didn't talk about this before. Did you see I don't know if I would put Tim on my cast piece. Quite honestly, I don't know if he's someone I'm on the fence about.
Who?
But anybody, Tim, Bix's boyfriend.
Oh, who gets killed in the opening?
Gets killed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Tim's creeper.
But did you see the X-wing that was outside of Saw's lair?
2 of them.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting too. Like, you're talking about like Maverick connections, is how they were all connected with the tubes to the power bricks and the starters and all that sort of thing. So they weren't just sitting there parked. They're not like standalones. There's
but blowing up the exhaust port in Maverick, I was like, that's the Death Star run that they were doing. Basically.
So question for you, Spencer, as we get to the next page. The one that has stunt coordinator all the way at the top.
Yes.
If you go down this list,
yep,
many people on this list have signed autographs for tops for like Rogue One or the new trilogy or Solo or something. And even on B2 Emo, right? Like Dave Chapman, Matthew Denton, we brought them both to Celebration. Derek Arnold was in numerous things. Mike Quinn and Damien Farrell, there we go. They're actually credited there. So they did the voices. But under the puppeteers, there's Derek Arnold again, Liam Cook, Damien,
Mike.
Yep, Mike Quinn, Artie Shaw, Kieran Shaw, Ian White. They've all signed autographs for tops. So if you Google those names or like go into eBay and search their names, you can see the various characters that they've done already. I wonder, like, if I were starting a cast piece, I feel like I would add a lot of those guys because they bring so many of these like cool characters to life. But also, like, how much room do we have? Because you can go down the prisoner list if you really wanted to.
So I'm doing a 11 by 14 right now, but I am so I'm doing currently. I'm working on 3 different Mandalorian pieces for each season, and my season 1 piece is the 13 by 19 that we got in Celebration Chicago.
It's a small piece. Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's
13 by 19.
Yeah.
I'm thinking compared to like a poster.
Yes, like, I hate doing posters because I have to schlep them everywhere.
Yeah.
But like when for example, I have Misty and I have Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have Barry, Lateef, Brendan, and Pedro.
There you go. That's what you need.
I couldn't get Rio before he died, unfortunately, to put under Taika.
Oh.
But I have an 8x10 of Rio that I did through the mail for that I have on IG-11's last scene. It's him walking through the lava. But yeah, I mean, I would do the puppeteer behind or the mocap behind there. Just like my Clone Wars season 2 print where I have Ray and Lauren underneath Ashley and Sam.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, nice to see, Mike Quinn there a couple of times. I mean, he's a great guy. He's somebody that I've been trying to get for our events since Chicago, really. And he's always wanted to, but it's just a timing thing.
I would love to, as much of the voice acting and the puppeteering. I would love to see like a speaker series with Mike Quinn.
That is something that we are discussing. I did mention that to John Notman,
The governor.
that he's on my list. I also put on the list as well Hal Hinkle from the
I did not know
animation
that
of
name.
LVM.
Hmm.
I mean, ILM. I mean, I also mentioned Dave Collins, who does a lot of voices for everything.
Yeah.
He works with Matt Wood.
David W. Collins. Yeah, he's done a lot of the video games and I mean he has sound for everything.
Yeah, so his name's everywhere.
Remember where he's been credited recently, but he's in a ton of stuff.
No, but he's fantastic. So yeah, Mike Quinn is somebody that we I've been saying that we would absolutely need to talk to. And he's someone, something besides the main cast of Jedi. Obviously, you got you obviously you try to get Mark, you try to get Billy D, you try to get Anthony, Ian, Mark, Harrison. You got to put Mike Quinn right up there. If you think about it, Mike Quinn as Nine Nub was in there with Billy D in the cockpit of the Falcon. He's up to me.
He helped blow up the Death Star.
He's one of the most logical people on top of those main cast members that should be at Celebration.
Oh, for sure. We brought him in 2017. I think he was at 2015 anyway. I don't think he was there in 2019 though.
No, he was not there in Chicago.
Yeah, I forget why. I think he had a conflict, but he signed autographs for us at Topps like a million times. Like I can tell you that as I was running that business for years, we had him in a lot of stuff. I remember actually when we put him in. So you guys remember the timing of how things work, right? Like The Force Awakens came out in December of 2015, but before all that, there was that Journey 2 period that hit in like September, where like all the merchandise was coming out to get you ready for the movie. We had our Journey to The Force Awakens trading cards, and we wanted Mike Quinn and a few other people like from the original movies in there because he had always signed for us. And I remember there was a slight hold from Lucasfilm on Mike Quinn for a minute because they were like, well, if we put him in this, will it make people think that he's in The Force Awakens? And it's like, well, we have like, I've got an autograph list of like 50 other people. Why would they just hone in on him? And I was like, oh, wait, you just told me that he's in the movie, didn't you? Like, it was like that kind of thing. And so it's like by not including him, we would have signaled to people that he was in the movie, along with Tim Rose, who played Admiral Akbar, which I think we might have known he was going to be in it. But like we had him in that, and then we had him in all of the new trilogy stuff. So Mike Quinn, Tim Rose, and all the returning people like Anthony and Kenny and Carrie and Mark and everyone. But yeah, they were part of like the core as we were then building our new signer list.
So it'll be very, like I said, it's going to be very interesting. But we talked about this on Tuesday night. Is that, I mean, I'm glad we have you on tonight to talk about this. Is that I think that this is probably going to be one of the last times you're going to get OTs at Celebration for one reason or another, because I think they're going to start to push through the prequels and then do Disney properties only.
I will state to you that I do not believe you that they will be able to successfully kick Anthony Daniels out. I think he will keep he will just like he'll buy a ticket and walk the floor before they let him.
Yeah, that is 100% true. I also think, some people were younger and older, right, within the frame. Like Billy D's in his 80s, Anthony Daniels only in his 60s, I think. So there's already like just a difference in age there. But yeah, we're running low, I would say, on capable original trilogy actors, especially main cast at this point. Right. If we go through the RIP list, it's actually quite long and it's really sad.
Right.
And we do have to lean into the prequel list, especially since the prequels are coming back in sort of new content streams. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi brought back Ewan and Hayden. They should be headlining shows. It should really be about that. And it should be about the newest stream of content, whether that's Mandalorian, Ahsoka, I wouldn't say Bad Batch, Andor. Like that's where
we could bring D. Bradley Baker in. He could sign.
Sure, yeah. But I wouldn't bring in like the 7th build voice actor, right? Like I would bring in D, and I'd probably bring in, I think it was Michelle, right?
Yeah.
So
I'd bring in Rhea Perlman if you're able to get her. But that was
sure.
Yeah.
I'd sooner do that as a send-in, right?
Right.
Like let's get her on stuff. My thought, if I were going to book talent for 22, which I have nothing to do with, by the way, I would make it very heavy Andor, knowing that it was filmed in England and a lot of the actors are probably there, and the new trilogy stuff that we couldn't get to in 2019 and 2020, whether it was logistical or due to the location. Like, it would be great if they could bring in a Daisy Ridley or a John Boyega or an Adam Driver. They would still be huge. I wouldn't go second tier cast list from the new trilogy, but I would try to get the main cast.
So
like, I think
let's
that's
throw
the
this
way
out
to do it.
there. Reed Pop runs Celebration.
Yeah.
Runs New York Comic Con. Let's throw it out there. Oscar Isaacs.
Absolutely. Bring him. He made huge money at New York Comic Con. Like, yeah, do it. Like, that's a no-brainer.
He would make
He's barely signed.
bank at Star Wars.
He'd make $1 million. Yeah, I can't imagine a better name actually, other than Daisy or Adam. Like, those are the
and
only
Adam
two
won't
people.
do it because of his anxiety.
Yeah,
He hates public appearances.
And I honestly, like, do any of them need the money? You can make the case that a generation prior, and this is true for prequel, not just even OT, the money was part of the reason they would do the convention circuit. These
Right.
guys do not need the money. They are way wealthier at this age than any of the comparable people other than Harrison Ford were at their same age, is my
Right.
understanding. So I think that we probably won't ever see them on the convention circuit unless it's in a space like the Ace Comic Con, which is currently
bringing
nowhere to
people
be
in.
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're actually bringing people in for spot shows. So they'll do an Ace pop-up at another con where Steve Sheamus will bring in a couple of people that are
Okay.
high tier.
Like super A-list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he won't do a full show anymore. He'll just bring in
Mhm.
like 2 or 3 people. And
Where are
they'll
those
have
happening? Because I haven't seen a thing
Florida and
about
Texas,
that.
I've seen.
Oh, okay.
And he does a private signing for a lot of, like the top tier Marvel still, on the side, which our friend Tori, who works with Twin Cities Comics, does a lot of work with them. We saw Tori's actually was at our dinner in Rhode Island. Great
so
guy.
if we're talking, a second tier of sequel trilogy actors, is the fandom ready for Kelly Marie at Celebration?
Well, she was already there, and she
was
did
already
great.
there. She did 2019.
No, but
2022.
You think we're going to do that in Celebration again? Again, it's a different country, continent.
Here's what I would say: if they bring in more people from the sequel trilogy, then it makes perfect sense to bring her in again. And the same thing with Billy. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I would not bring in Billy Lord. This is me just throwing this out there. I would not bring Billy Lord to be a replacement for a mom to fill a spot.
Sure.
But if you were going to do something with a couple of people, like, bring in them and bring in, maybe even bring in Dom Monaghan, because they're very close with him and they had those scenes together in Rise, just randos. Yeah, sure. I think you'd bring her in, but I think that if they were able to pull in like an Oscar or a John Boyega,
yeah,
that would be the way to go.
The nice thing is there are more streams of content than ever. So
Right.
even if you found the second tier people from all of these different series, you could have a guest list that's 100% new, or you could have a guest list that's 100% main cast and still be able to fill the quantities. Like, that's
Right.
what's so crazy. I did not have nearly the amount of content that in 2019 then that 2022 will have, and it's only been 3 years. That's what's so nuts. There are 2 more seasons of Mando. You've got a season of Andor. You've got a season of Obi-Wan. You couldn't book anyone from Ahsoka because the show's not on yet, but you have a season of Bad Batch. Everything. Clone Wars came back. Like, there's so much news. And you could go weird too. You could grab someone from Visions if you really wanted to. Like, Christopher Sean was in Resistance and he was in Visions. And I'm not saying you would book someone necessarily, but there's plenty to pull from. Truly though, I think Andor should be the focus along with main cast new trilogy, and then obviously people always want Ewan and Hayden.
Yeah.
Like they'll never not sell, and I
I'm
do.
throwing this name into the hat right now. Shirley Henderson, the voice of Babu Freak.
Sure, like, but also the 40th person I book.
Right.
Like that's the problem, right? With this many number of people. And by the way, I'm sure she's great, and and I'd love to meet her.
And she's Moaning Myrtle in the Potter.
Well, that is a cool thing, but I didn't know that name. You said the voice of Babu Freak, and I'm like,
that's cool. Yeah.
But I didn't know that name. And so many people are going to have to, you need to know that name to get.
I will say too, like, just because you're famous outside of Star Wars, at a Star Wars show doesn't mean you're going to book the way you do. I've seen actors who are in Star Wars, and when they go to another show, will do more money than they do at Star Wars Celebration for their other characters. Because at Star Wars, everyone is laser focused on like, must get the people who only do Celebration. Like that.
Well, here's the thing. It's something that I would say that was, I thought, brilliant on the top side in 2017, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a big shock.
And the thing, well, I said it was because she's never done a con. You're going to get the hardcore Buffy people, and she probably made more money on Buffy at that show. Because the thing I was like, okay, Freddie was, Kanan, right then and there. He was at a $50-$60 price point. She was $125, and I'm like, but why? But I was thinking about, you probably priced it because you knew Buffy. Like you knew that people were going to be coming with stacks and stacks of Buffy stuff, more so than Sister.
Oh, without a doubt. If I had a guess, and I think I told you my husband got to be her rep for the day.
Right.
So Jason followed her around, and he was telling me, he was like, it was easily 3-1 Buffy to Star Wars. Like people did not care that she was doing a voice in Star Wars. And a lot of people who were at the show were there with a lot of other Star Wars stuff. And then the stuff for her was just Buffy.
Right.
And I actually think she probably had a lot of flippers. The more I think about it, because people were like,
she does do it.
She had a lot of people who bought multiple pieces, and none of them were personalized. So it's the kind of thing where it's like, that's a clue that like, because she, like you said, she doesn't do other shows, people were asking their friends to get for them, or like people were otherwise flipping them. And when we looked on eBay, like she had quite a bit of inventory the following weeks after.
Right.
And that's just how it goes sometimes. But like,
like you're saying, but you also said, looking at 2019, that you thought Jason Isaacs would have done better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few people who I thought like Jason Isaacs is crazy famous, right? Like he's Malfoy. Like he is Mr. Malfoy in Harry Potter, and he was in Star Trek at the time. But in Star Wars, he is the villain of one season of the animated show that is like the 7th priority at Lucasfilm, right? Like, so even within the main cast, he's like number 12. Like that's what's so crazy. So like for the hardcore people, super important, but I think you could find him in other places too. But he had the same thing where a lot of people were bringing Harry Potter things for him to sign, which perfectly fine. I joked that I wanted to bring David Tennant. He's done one episode of Clone Wars, and they were like, that doesn't make any sense. But I was like, you're right. Like I would never actually book him for that show. It would make no sense. But I also think like, there's a lot to pull from. Like if you bring in a Stellan Skarsgård, he's done a ton of Marvel stuff too. You get him to sign Thor posters. Like he's in Avengers, But like I think this group would actually be like must have for Andor. Like that's super big. Like this show I think is going to drive a lot of collecting for the people who are watching anyway.
And it's interesting because if you look at it right now, we've been seeing, obviously because this was done during the COVID era, British actor, Forrest Whitaker.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the few Americans. And yeah, they needed to keep continuity with him. But like I also think because this was shot in Britain and it has mostly British actors, the odds of Americans getting their signatures is much smaller. Like you're not going to accidentally run into them in LA. They might not do conventions in America as frequently. So this would be a good shot to get them. So this might, like, if I were going to, like, truly, again, if I were going to book, Andor main cast, but I would go deep on Andor. Like I'd bring in those secondary people, and Cyril is main cast, but I would bring in Cyril's mom also, and I would sit them next to each other for at least a day. Like, and you would do a dual photo. Like I'd want to be right in the middle of that family portrait. Like that'd be awesome. Like that's the kind of stuff where you could go a little bit lower on the cast list with Andor, and you could also bring in people like Mike Quinn, Aiden Cook, whatever, to fill in. Like we always need creatures, and they're in multiple movies and shows. So if you have a Rogue One poster, Aiden Cook goes on there, and he goes on your Andor picture, and he goes on your Force Awakens and your Last Jedi. Like you can put him on numerous things. Those types of actors are great because people are coming for all different characters, and odds are someone needs you to add to some kind of big piece.
Well, here's the thing: is you struck gold with Erin Kellyman. Since then, she was fantastic, and her mother was fantastic. I don't know if you had a chance to chat with her mother, who was
very briefly.
Too. Yeah. But since then, was the main antagonist in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
she's got a major role in Willow that's coming up.
2 weeks, Willow.
Yes, very soon.
All of a sudden, I was like, "Wait, the thing is done." I feel like I haven't even seen a trailer, and here we are.
Lila just posted. She's like, if Stellan goes, she would bring her girl with the dragon tattoo.
See, that's so random, but I love that because it's the same thing. Like, even when we met Keone Young at Rhode Island Comic-Con, like I brought him my Star Wars Rebels thing, and I don't think he was expecting to sign any of that because he's like so many other things.
Right.
And I was like, well, you were in like a season and a half, and girl, you're like a really important character. But he was barely like in the big poster of things, like the little Rebels thing was like this.
So big. I heard a little birdie told us that he may show up on a Revisited maybe sometime.
I would hope so. I mean, he seemed into it. By the way, he hasn't written us an email, so I don't want to make any promises. But he really, he was super nice to me and Jason and Ashley. And we were chatting with him longer than I felt like was appropriate. I was like, guys, we need to leave. We're taking up a lot of his time. But he was super nice, and he was going on. Like, what happens? Like, you mentioned something, and then he's got a story about it. Like, he mentioned being on the Golden Girls, and then my husband's off to the races, right? So, and he's trying to remember when that was, and he was like, yeah, there weren't a lot of Asian people on the Golden Girls. You can easily find my episodes. So we had to like think in our head, like, do we remember seeing a character like 40 years ago? And that's how long he's been in the industry, right?
Right.
So it's the kind of thing where his IMDb list, you pull it up, and it's miles long. He's like constantly gigging, but he was super, super nice. I'd love to get him on the show, and he was very happy to sign the poster. I think I told you, like, he signed way bigger than I thought he was going to.
Right.
And I was like, I want you to sign over Hera, and he signed onto Hera. Like, and I was like, okay, gotcha. Okay. It looks good though. Looks good.
I think he was my favorite surprise of Rhode Island as well. As I just kind of semi spur of the moment went to get him on a Storm Shadow action figure, and just long conversation with him because it was an action figure that he hadn't seen before, the particular variant that I had, and he was selling the tattoo pins that he had made up. And I told this story, I think Tuesday night, in the only celeb that I think I have met at a con, at least recently, that I was not getting a personalization on, because I don't do personalization. I just don't. But he asked me my name anyway.
Oh, that's nice.
What's your name? Oh, hi, Dave. Nice to meet you. I'm Keone. And I'm like, I know.
That's why I gave you cash.
Yes. Like, I know. It's like, but yeah, long conversation about, I got my Storm Shadow signed. Who do I get to sign Snake Eyes? As we agreed, it's got to be Larry Hama, because Snake Eyes has no voice in the cartoons. But, that's something he was doing in 1980.
Yeah, could have been in between episodes of Golden Girls.
Yeah,
from G.I. Joe right on over. Just
hey, we keep on going forever, and I don't want to keep these people there want to go to bed and everything like that. We can talk offline. But first and foremost, Mark, thank you for jumping on with us tonight.
Yeah,
we greatly appreciate it. And thank you for being part of this series of Andor, August, and then some.
And then some. Yeah, so we have on, just to plug my own show, on
Yeah.
Monday, because it is Thanksgiving week, we are doing our thankful episode. So we're going to talk about all the things we're thankful for within the general realm of Star Wars, and in particular Star Wars Rebels. So join me and Ashley on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern for Rebels Revisited. It's not a pre-record. We'll be live talking about all the things we're thankful for. And because we don't have to do a watch along, we may stay to the hour. I don't think we've done that since our first episode. We're over every week. Poor Jeff is like, can we close the show? He's like ready to plunge. Yeah.
And of course, join us Tuesday for our Life Day Spectacular with Skywalking through Neverland.
Our Wookiee Pride Day show.
Our Wookiee Pride Day show, or
something like that.
Yes.
We'll definitely be doing that. And again, because it is Thanksgiving week, Unifying Force will be on, but we are not gonna do live. What we're gonna do is we're gonna promo some previous episodes that have bearing on what we've been talking about lately. So yeah, we're gonna go back through the archive, and we're gonna go ahead and like re-preview or relaunch a couple of key episodes on that day, so you can watch when you're in your turkey coma.
That sounds good.
So thank you very much for joining us. I see if people going to sleep. A great show again tonight. Don't forget, where you will be on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week, with Thursday being off for Thanksgiving. But we will. I'm going to say right now is that we wish you all very much a very, very happy and healthy Thanksgiving. We're going right into the holiday season, so wishing everybody well. So from Mark, from Dave, from Spencer, I like to say, be on program, one way out, and may the force be with you.
Oh, I got to take my hands down to turn off the thing.
Yes.
Never more than 12.